hello. Forgive me for that. You caught me doing a little jazzercise between the stacks there, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a bit more dewy than usual. We're having a little bit of a situation here at the Sonnetarium. I won't say quarantine, I'll just say that Dr. Frankensonnet has decided it would be a good idea for us to get our exercises in our own areas for the time being, and we've been, widescreening Jane Fonda and her workout. So I thought I'd get some in, and I just lost track of time because, we must increase our bust. In any case, it's apropos of today's discussion because if you're looking for a real workout, Sonnet 24 is the one for you. I, by the way, am Tootight Lautrec, and this is the Shakey Sonnet Show. So, in any case, if you're looking for a good workout, Sonnet 24. I've twisted myself into a veritable macrame type mental status, just trying to figure out what the heck is going on in this sonnet. And to tell you the truth, I think I may have strained something, and possibly I'll never have children. I don't know, we'll see. But in Sonnet 24, Shakespeare goes through some contortions that are even more impressive than mine were earlier. And he apparently is attempting to, it's a poetic exercise. This is an accepted literary conceit that was all the rage among all the coolest sonneteers of the day. And so Shakespeare had to give it a go, but oh my goodness, did he ever give it a go? He could have given it a go and gone right past it as far as I'm concerned, but we'll take a good look at it and see what's going on here. We have in Sonnet 24 the conceit of a painter looking at the beloved. Fine. Dandy. But then we get a description of looking, painting, framing, looking back and forth and sideways and up and down, it seems, at the one who is looking and framing and painting and looking back at us and so on and so forth. We get Shakespeare extending metaphors, stretching the truth, and quite honestly riding my last nerve. Enough to completely wear down the reader, or at least this reader here. Now, some commentators believe that they decided to blame it all on Petrarch because, that's what you're going to do. The sonnet goes wrong, well, Petrarch, So that's what most commentators do. According to the Variorum, with Hyder Edward Rollins compiled in 1940s, there's a scholar named Sidney Lee who states that Petrarch is to blame. And this is in an 1898 article. And he references the same themes in the sonnets of people like Watson, Drayton, Barnes, and Constable. Now, we'll look at Shakespeare's sonnet in a moment, but I do have Constable's sonnet cycle, Diana, and I'll read the first 4 lines, and I'll see if I can find a link to it so that you can compare them. But this in here is Sonnet 5, with the title, Of the Conspiracy of His Lady's Eyes and His Own to Engender Love. And the first 4 lines are, Thine eye the glass where I behold my heart, mine eye the window through which thine eye may see my heart, and there thyself espy, in bloody colours, how thou painted art. And the sonnet goes on alternating between thine eye and mine eye and thine eye and mine eye and thine eye and mine eye, blah, 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 all the way to the end. And so, yes, we get it. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. Love reigns supreme. This sonnet is supposed to be, the poet's eye is the same as the painter's heart. I think we'd better just hop right in and see what we can do with it. Sonnet 24. Mine eye hath played the painter, and hath steeled thy beauty's form in table of my heart. My body is the frame wherein 'tis held, and perspective it is best painter's art. For through the painter must you see his skill, to find where your true image pictured lies, which in my bosom's shop is hanging still, that hath his windows glazed with thine eyes. Now see what good turns eyes for eyes have done. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, and thine, for me, are windows to my breast, where through the sun delights to peep, to gaze therein on thee. Yet eyes this cunning want to grace their art, they draw but what they see, know not the heart. Okay, so Rollins quotes a scholar named R.M. Alden in 1917 who summarizes the eccentric ingenuity of this conceit this way. My eye has drawn the image of your beauty in my heart. That image is framed in my body and is hanging in my bosom's shop. Your eyes are the windows through which the sun views the image, etc., etc., etc. Okay, let's go through it ourselves and see what we can make of it. Mine eye hath played the painter, so I'm a painter, I'm looking at you, and hath steeled. Now, steeled could be from the root stilo, like a pen, or it could be an engraving tool, or it could mean some sort of variation on styled. My eye is the painter, and I have styled, or I have engraved, or I have written thy beauty's form in table of my heart. Your beauty in the table of my heart, nor the notebook of my heart. I've put you down in my heart. I looked at you, you're beautiful, I created an image, and I'm holding that in my heart. My body is the frame, so obviously my heart is in my body, so my body acts as the frame for my heart. My body is the frame wherein 'tis held, meaning your image. And perspective, it is best painter's art. And this has everyone doing somersaults. All the scholars are going through fits and all kinds of contortions, trying to figure out exactly what this means. Does it mean a painter's perspective where you're looking at the foreground versus the background? Does it mean the Latin root to see through something? Is it a pun on both? And who cares? Perspective, it is best painter's art. Okay, Shakespeare, thank you for your little editorial opinion there. It doesn't really seem to get us any further in this sonnet. That's just the first quatrain. So we've got looking at you, you're in my heart, my body's a frame, and I guess it'll depend on who's looking at it, because that's the perspective. Second quatrain, for through the painter, me or the poet, for through the painter must you see his skill. So you should see the skill that I'm putting forth here to find where your true image lies. So you could read my poem and see how beautiful I think you really are. Your true image, which in my bosom's shop is hanging still. Now I'm not just a frame for the image of your beauty. I'm a whole shop. I'm an entire store selling all of your beauty to the rest of the world. To find where your true image pictured lies, which in my bosom's shop is hanging still, that hath his windows glazed with thine eyes. Okay, so we're in a shop. I'm a frame. There's a window. Your eyes are glazing my windows, the windows to my shop that holds the frame, that holds the image of me looking at you. Got it? Okay. Third quatrain. Now see what good turns eyes for eyes have done. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, and thine for me are windows to my breast. So when I look at you, I see what you feel about me, and you see what I feel about you. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, and thine for me are windows to my breast, wherethrough the sun delights to peep, to gaze therein on thee. Okay. Windows, frames, sun, eyes, pictures, hearts. Everything's going swimmingly, I guess. Then we get to the couplet. Yet, eyes this cunning want to grace their art. They draw but what they see, know not the heart. Well, I mean, after all that, what? You don't know the heart? So we look at one another where there's some sort of reciprocal love going on, where I'm going through this tortured sequence to try to figure out how I can convey to you how much I love you, and I'm assuming you love me too, but in the end, we can't know one another's heart because eyes are cunning and they need to have a better art. So maybe he's saying his poem can't possibly do it justice, and so there's no way to really convey how much he feels. Well, that's a good idea. I hadn't really thought of that before. Glad we talked this through. But so maybe that's it. The insufficiency of his verse can't convey the depth of his love. But mostly we get eyes and breasts and bosoms and bodies and windows, and at the end of it, it seems like we get nothing. Nothing. We can't know one another's heart. Oi, I don't know what to say to that. Now, if that were the only problem, that would be one thing, but no. There's this whole thy and you situation popping up again. Remember when we talked about some of Shakespeare's, the poems in this series or this set of sonnets, some have only the beloved addressed as thou, and some have the beloved addressed as you. But in this poem, we have thy beauty, and through the painter you must see his skill. So we've got thy and thine and you all at the same time. So I don't really know what's going on here. Maybe there's some sort of mishmash in the language going on, or maybe Shakespeare just got a little sloppy. Maybe he got it all twisted up in his head because he, was in a pretzel on the floor trying to figure out how to end it. Or there's the supposition that perhaps the you here does not necessarily mean the beloved, but it's a generic one. Not that through the painter you must see his skill, but through the painter one must see the painter's skill, or any person who is considering a painter must see the painter's skill. That's a possibility. So if we're to look at this in terms of if there's a gender in here, is there a male or is there a female? Who cares? I don't care. I've lost interest in it. But it looks to me as if neither are in this poem. There's a preference for neither a male or a female subject or narrator. Is this poem just a clever little exercise? No. Exercise? Yes. Clever? No. If this poem is part of a larger series, if it's just another chapter in this saga of 154 sonnets, how might this function? Is it somehow, if we look at 23, now if we look at 22, I said that perhaps that's the moment of first consummation of their relationship, because it's bodies in bodies, etc., etc. And if we look at 24, then there seems to be a bit of a hesitation. Eyes that look at one another, they still don't know the heart. So there's the awkwardness of new love. There's maybe a little doubt in the relationship where you wonder, is this too good to be true? What's going on here? It could be that that moment where you think, well, all of this is just too much. Perhaps it'll fade. Perhaps I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. Should I retract? I don't know. We can't know the other's heart, and there's maybe a little bit of hesitation in this relationship. Or maybe there's a little bit of fading in the relationship. Who knows? I certainly don't, but I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comments section. I'm going to maybe douse myself. Actually, I think I'll take a full-blown shower, get some sushi from the Sonnetarium concession stand, and maybe ask the sommelier if he can pair it with a nice Sauvignon Blanc. And while I'm sipping on my Sauvignon, I'll be contemplating all the wonders that are in the world and hoping that you will be too, and that you will be paying attention to them until we meet again. I'm Tootight Lautrec. Mwah. Whew.